Hello, I'm the Dark Master, and today I'll be reviewing set number 70652, Stormbringer. It comes with 493 pieces, 4 minifigures, and an awesome dragon. Let's start this hunted set. The minifigures are from left to right: Muzzle, Daddy No Legs, Zane, and Jay. Let's start with Muzzle, the most generic, and one we've covered before. Just like last time, Muzzle wears a black do-rag and the sweet armor, all of which serves to cover up the utterly same generic torso, leg, and face printing. The one new thing is this trident spear that he wields alongside one of his usual katanas. Overall, a perfectly generic figure that's just not generic enough. It's very, very awkward. It's like multiples of the same character. Daddy No Legs is far more unique. Firstly, it is true he lacks minifigure legs, opting instead for a custom-built lower body after a dragon apparently bit him in half. But let's go over his quote-unquote normal figure parts. He utilizes the same torso as nearly all the dragon hunters, minus the girl Jetjack. But his face print is completely different. His face is an angry scowl with a partially closed eye, indicating some severe damage, which makes sense considering he's half the figure he used to be. He dons a black bandana and a ponytail, making him reminiscent of Ultraviolet, more than I think is usual. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Then again, these seasons are connected, so it makes some sort of sense. Daddy here has a mechanical lower body. The torso is attached via a cylinder piece. Behind him is the backpack piece, which was also used in General Machia. Here it has 2 pins. Beneath that is a clip piece, which is attached to a bar plate with a grill on it. The forelegs are silver exo arms with orange barbs, but between the legs are a pair of smaller clip pieces with round tiles printed with dials on them. Daddy No Leg wields 2 weapons. One is a large sword using a really cool new blade piece. The other weapon is a claw utilized to grab onto dragons. What kind of dragons? You'll see in a moment. And as you can clearly tell, the chain attaches to his body. So even if he loses hold of the spear, it'll keep track. It's kind of weird though that he has like a spear as the place that he's supposed to hold on to it. Kind of odd. Maybe he would poke himself, I don't know. Overall, these are both decent weapons, and the minifigure is arguably the best villain minifigure in the wave, I would say. Starting with Zane, he just like the others, features battle damage from a serious event, that I won't spoil. But instead of the normal yellow skin, he features silver skin, which makes sense considering that he is a ninjoid and not a regular ninja. The black just is awful here, even worse than Kai or Jay. It contrasts badly with the white. The bow and arrow are both cool, and though they're in black, I don't mind as their weapons. He also wields the same katana, but this time with a brown handle, meaning it's completely different from Muzzle's. His face is awesome, but it's the same as we've seen before, and thus lacks a back alternate face. Last but not least, we got Jay. Arguably the least damage of all the ninja, he even still wields black armor. His torso and leg printing are on point. With regards to his weaponry, he wields the dragon bone blade and bladed chain. Now, if you get this set and Firstborn, you have 2 blades. If you get all the sets, you probably have 3 or even more. So I don't know. Maybe they're replicas. I don't know. Overall, it's decent. And now it's time to discuss the big build of the set, Stormbringer, the new lightning dragon. So this dragon is much more eastern in design in comparison to the more westernly designed Firstborn had. This is most notable in its wings, which are a pair of highly flexible stubs that are not really what most people consider wings. The lightning and curved pieces, which are new, are really interesting. There are also a pair of smaller flaps, similar to those used on the shoulders of Samurai X. I guess they would be part of the wing, but they're connected differently, so I consider them a secondary wing. That's probably inaccurate, but I think it's decent hypothesis. Stormbringer's head and neck are one. As such, he lacks any real neck or neck articulation. Only the lower jaw can move up and down, but that's the same thing as in Firstborn, so I don't really mind it that much. Just like Firstborn, he has printed eyes, but on a brick instead of a slope, meaning it's much bigger, though I still think it's useful for mocking. He also has these articulated black main spines plus orange dorsal spines, really giving to a very spiky appearance that I think makes him stand out from the original Firstborn. He also has his cool nose pieces using blue X arms, which looks kind of awkward, but again gives him a unique appearance. Overall, his head is decent. He also has spring-loaded missiles, which he can shoot out, but don't lose them because they're really hard to find afterwards. The overall color scheme is fantastic. It retains the average blue as well as the orange, but is paired with darker blue and black. The dark blue slowly becomes more and more prominent down the tail. Speaking of the tail, it features this tail gear gimmick minus one extra tail segment, which this gimmick was first introduced in the Green Mecha Dragon, and it's awesome here. I freaking adore these amazing tails. Though I wish they could find a way to do it while still maintaining articulation, but overall, it's decent. The torso is fine if a bit thin, but that does make sense given that it's an ornamental dragon. It also has numerous clips, which are kind of obvious, that are used by the villains to hold on. The texture is just fantastic here. His legs are shorter but perfectly average. The feet are the small beast feet with some of the best toes I've ever seen. The final action feature I've already discussed is a spring-loaded missiles, but I want to go over it again because I think they're kind of cool. Here's what they do. You press them down and they go off. He wields this what we would call a saddle. And unlike the Firstborn, I think it makes a little more sense. But it still doesn't really make that much sense because we never see it in the TV show. Overall, a decent saddle for a decent creature. I really can't say much about the overall saddle design because I think it's pretty generic. It's good. It's red and brown, but not much to say there. Now, before we go on to the final part of the set has a special ability that it can be built up with the Lego boost. I do not have boost, so I can't show this, but I will say the build looks like trash. The bright orange just utterly makes the color scheme garbage, and the legs look so unnatural. So anyway, let's discuss the shrine they're fighting over. The shrine is shaped like an anvil, which is kind of odd, but also makes somewhat sense. It wields the dragon armor, which is arguably the coolest part of the entire dragon armor set. But it looks real cool. The way it's molded, the sort of dragon shoulders. It also has one of those orange bush pieces, which is good for mocking. Overall, a bit generic, but it fits the job well. So what are my final thoughts on the set? Well, the figures -1 are all excellent. The dragon is just fantastic. It really has a unique profile compared to Firstborn. The shrine featuring the torso armor of the first Spinjitzu Master is okay. It's not excellent, but take what I can get. Overall, it's just This is just a good set, and if you can get it for cheap, I'd recommend getting it. It really makes a good comparison with the Firstborn. Of course, I also have 2 polybags, but I got those for free. And I also have Katana, but you don't really have to get that one, I would say. Anyway, that's about it. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more LEGO reviews.